All right, let's just jump right in because, let's be real, we've all been there, facing someone's anger and having absolutely no idea what to do. So today, we're going to break down a playbook for not just surviving those moments, but actually mastering them.
You know that feeling, right? That knot in your stomach, that tension in the air when you're around someone who you know might just explode at any second? It is exhausting, and it is a huge problem, whether we're talking about work, home, or just out in the world.
And when you bring that into the office, man, it's like poison. It creates this culture of fear where nobody wants to share a new idea, nobody wants to take a risk. Innovation just dies on the vine. Communication completely shuts down in teamwork. Well, that just becomes people cautiously trying to exist near each other.
At home, wow, the stakes get even higher, don't they? When there's frequent anger, our homes, our sanctuaries, they turn into battlefields. And that constant tension, it just eats away at the very foundations of our most important relationships. The love, the trust, the safety we all need to really be ourselves.
And then there's out in public with total strangers. A simple disagreement over a parking spot or a place in line can escalate in like seconds. You have no idea who you're dealing with, and what starts as a heated argument can turn into a real threat to your physical safety fast. So, all of this brings us to a really crucial point. How we respond to anger isn't just some minor social skill. Failing to handle it correctly has profound, very tangible consequences.
And look, these costs are incredibly real. In the workplace, it means you lose talented people. Great employees just won't stick around in a toxic environment. In our personal lives, it leads to this deep, deep erosion of trust. And physically, the chronic stress from these encounters takes a serious toll on our health.
Okay, so how in the world do we deal with it? Well, before you can calm the storm, you really have to understand the weather. So let's take a look at what's actually happening inside an angry person's brain.
This right here, this is the absolute key. It's something called an amygdala hijack. See, the amygdala is your brain's ancient alarm system. When it thinks there's a threat, and it doesn't matter if it's real or imagined, it can completely take over. And it essentially just unplugs the prefrontal cortex, which is the logical, rational part of your brain.
So here's how it goes down. It's a super simple but crazy powerful process. It starts with some kind of perceived threat. Instantly, that alarm system hijacks the whole brain, flooding it with stress hormones. And the final step? The logical, rational part of the brain goes completely offline. The person is, quite literally, primed for combat.
And this leads to a profound shift in how you see things. The person yelling in front of you isn't some monster. They are temporarily neurologically impaired. Their brain isn't working properly. They really are not themselves. And realizing this, really getting this, is the first step toward empathy and actually doing something effective.
And that right there brings us to the solution. Because in this exact situation, where their rational brain is offline, you have an incredible tool at your disposal. You basically have a superpower.
Look, we all know anger is contagious, right? Someone yells at you, and your first instinct is to get defensive and reactive. But here is the secret. Calm is also contagious. While reacting just adds more fuel to the fire, your calm can be the water that puts it all out. It is your strategic advantage.
And this isn't some feel-good, fluffy idea. This is straight-up biology. Our brains have these things called mirror neurons that make us subconsciously mimic the emotional states of people around us. So by consciously regulating your own body, slowing your breathing, lowering your voice, you send a powerful nonverbal signal to their brain to cool down. You literally create a safe container for their emotional chaos. So how do we actually put this amazing superpower into practice? Let's get into the practical, actionable toolkit. It's a simple but incredibly effective 3-step playbook.
And here's the best part. You do not need to memorize some complex flowchart or 100 different tactics. Mastering de-escalation really just comes down to getting really, really good at 3 core moves. That's it. Okay, here it is, the playbook. Step 1, listen. And your only goal here is to understand, not to come up with a reply. Paraphrase what they say back to them to prove you're actually listening. Step 2, validate their feeling. Now, you don't have to agree with their facts, just their emotion. A simple, I can see how frustrating this must be for you, can be unbelievably disarming. And finally, step 3, problem solve. Shift the focus from who's to blame to how we can fix it. Attack the problem together, not the person. Now, using those tactics, that's one thing. But to make them stick, To make them truly effective for the long haul, we need to adopt a much deeper mindset. We need to completely redefine what it even means to win in these situations.
This right here is where the game completely changes. Our ego, it screams for that old goal. Win the argument, prove you're right. But the new goal, the one that actually brings peace, is to protect your own calm and resolve the issue. See, true victory isn't about being right. It's about maintaining your integrity and your composure.
And this gives us a totally new way to measure success, doesn't it? You can't control the other person. They might stay angry no matter what you do. So success isn't about whether they calm down. Success is about whether you stay true to your own principles of respect and safety. If you can walk away and say yes to that, you've succeeded, no matter what the outcome was.
So I'm just going to leave you with this question to chew on. This isn't just about managing conflict. This is about being a truly transformative force. What if, instead of getting swept up in all the chaos, you could be that stable, non-anxious presence that changes the entire dynamic? What if you could be the calm in someone else's storm?